What up, everybody, and welcome to 10-10-10 this week. 10 under 10 in week 10, where I give you my 10 favorite plays, all projecting under 10% owned. 5 from Draftkings, 5 from Fanduel, and we get it going here in week 10. It is crazy to think that we are already in week 10. It is a wild thing for me. Oh, look at that. I'm not even signed in because, guys, you can get DraftKings. You can get this article for free on DraftKings DraftKings. What am I talking about here? I'm losing my mind. You can get this article for free on DFS Army every single week, and this is free on the YouTube stream as well. So if you like that this thing is free every single week, make sure that you like this video, you subscribe, and keep watching so that we can keep this thing coming to you guys full free every single week. You get a little bit of a preview here with my boy Baker Mayfield. You're probably going to hear him in a little bit here, but you guys know my strategy by now, and sort of the theme of this article, first or last. I ain't here to min cash, and there is a guy in here that will potentially put you in last place in your lineups if you play him, but I think there's some sneaky upside. There's last week's video. Let's recap week 9. DraftKings, not bad. 2.45, I believe, return on value here. Kirk Cousins was QB 11, 2.93x. Ramondre Stevenson, you'll hear his name again in a little bit, 3.56. Cooper Kupp was good. Laporta, James Cook, not so good. But guys, I really lived by the first or last motto here on FanDuel because it was ugly. Joe Flacco, QB 26.4x. Jared Goff, QB 23. Nick Chubb, I put RB 100. I just could, my thumb got hurt. I couldn't scroll anymore. All right. Khalil Shakir, wide receiver 100, because he was so far down the list. Cardinals, I can get on board with. Yeah, Cardinals were a good defense. I was pretty pleased with that pick, but arguably maybe the worst I've ever done on FanDuel for a week. And you want to know what? You're going to get those sometimes. So let's get into it. We're going to talk about DraftKings first here. Then we'll get to FanDuel. Hopefully a little bit better over there this week. But remember, chalk is chalk for a reason. All right. So while I've got 10 guys listed here, I'm not playing all 10 of these guys in the same lineup. Right? You're looking to pick and choose and slide your lineups around, right, with some of these guys. What I like to do is with these guys, basically, I'm just giving them maybe a love. Maybe I'm saying, hey, I want to be double the field here. So I'm putting in, if I'm building in the domination station here at DFS Army, which is our optimizer, which if you guys have not checked out yet, you are missing out. Become a VIP. You can use that code UpNorth, 10% off. But I'll give these guys like a minimum percentage in there maybe. I'll say like Russell Wilson, I want 15% this week of him in my pool. So trying to maybe double, triple the field on their ownership, and then let the domination station do my job or do its job and get you guys some high projected lineups, with that. So like I said, let's start out here. Russell Wilson, one of my favorite quarterbacks this week, especially on DraftKings. I think that this game goes well over the 45-point projected total. I think both these offenses are pretty good. The Commanders' defense is not good. The Steelers is obviously a little bit better, but I think Jaden Daniels is good enough to really push the ball downfield on these guys. So I love Wilson with Pickens. That's been his guy. Both these guys should have had more points last week, and I think if they would have counted that touchdown, both of these guys that Pickens legitimately scored that they didn't count, both these guys would be about double the ownership that they are right now. So I like them this week. I think that if you are running it back with somebody, you're going that game stack, right? Because I do think that this game goes off. I really like Noah Brown. Terry McLaurin was the touchdown guy last week, but I think Noah Brown's upside is significantly better here. So yeah, Wilson, Pickens, and then run it back with Noah Brown in GPP. I like that Wilson's been running the ball a little bit too. Not much. 3 carries, right? But that little scrambling ability is coming out here. I think coming off the bye, they're going to have some stuff up their sleeves for the Commanders and are going to be in good shape here. I like the Steelers to win this game. Sorry, Uppers Lad. But I do like them to win this week. Right back to the well with Ramondre Stevenson. 20 some carries, right? Like he's getting a ton of work out of the backfield. The Bears have been good, not great against the run. They've struggled with pass catching backs. I think Stevenson is a DraftKings only play for me this week, just because of the PPR upside. But yeah, I like this game. I don't think it's going to be a ton of scoring just because I don't know that Caleb Williams is very good. Sorry, Bobby. I'm just chirping everybody's team today, but I do think that he fixed the fumbling issues. They're going to give him the rock a ton. Drake May is going to dump those little balls off to him, and he's going to have a nice, 20-plus point game on DraftKings. Deebo Samuel, dealing with an oblique injury, suffered it in week 8, right? They had the bye last week. He's still wearing the non-contact jersey in practice. I haven't actually checked. It's Friday. I haven't checked what the practice report was this afternoon, but he's going to play, and he's literally the only wide receiver left. All right, so 2.5%, 7,200. Purdy's going to give him the ball a ton between him and George Kittle. I prefer Deebo Samuel here because I'd rather pay down a little bit at tight end. So love Samuel. And actually I love this game environment, as you'll see here in a little bit. I think that Deebo is a great play. I think that this game is going to blow up for like 60-ish points. Next, we're talking about a little bit of correlated leverage, where if this guy goes off, some of the chalk is not going to. And that, my friends, is the Justin Jefferson chalk, right? He's projected to be one of the highest owned wide receivers on the slate, whereas we're looking at 3.5% for your boy Jordan Addison at only 5,300. I think that's way too low in both aspects. I think the ceiling's high. The floor is obviously pretty low, but like if he's smashing, right, then Jefferson is likely not. They could both get there in the right game scenario against the Jags, but an early touchdown from Addison, I think, really goes well. And you also get leverage off of Aaron Jones as well, who is looking like chalk city. So I think that Addison is a really sneaky, strong GPP play. And then on the other side of that 49ers game, right, we love Cade Otton. We love Cade Otton. Like, the volume went down a little bit against the Chiefs last week. I'm not concerned about that. He's an elite DraftKings play because, like, he could easily have 10 catches here. Easily have 10 catches here, plus whatever the yardage is, maybe a touchdown, maybe 2. Like, the upside is so high. Bobby Wow is probably not feeling that bad about Caleb Williams because he got that $1 million sitting there in his pocket still. Switching over to FanDuel, hopefully have a better week here this week, and it starts off with your boy Baker Mayfield. The Niners are not the old Niners. They're giving up about 200 yards a game in the air. I think that, Mayfield is throwing it 30, 40 times a game. If not more, he's putting up tons of fantasy points. And yeah, they're not running the ball much, right? And they're not going to run the ball much against the 49ers. What we're seeing is Mayfield is really hitting those dump offs to Bucky and Rashad White. So I think you can pair him up. I think you could legitimately play him with a running back here in a big GPP, which is kind of crazy. But then for the most part, I like just Mayfield and Otton going forward. All right, plug your nose and play Mac Jones. That rhymes. That should be like the theme for this week. Plug your nose and play Mac Jones. Look, you're going to see in a little bit. I love the Vikings defense. I think that they are your cash game defense. I think that they are a great GPP option as well. But there is a possibility that Mac Jones is serviceable. And at $6,000, if Mac Jones gets you like 16, 17 points on FanDuel, you could get there. You need some studs to perform, right? But that value that you're getting by only paying $6,000 for him, he could get there. I don't think Mac Jones is a good quarterback. I do think that the Vikings defense looked a little bit better against the Colts, but they are not the same defense that they were in the beginning of the year. Blake Cashman is coming back this week. We'll talk about that here in a second. So that should help, but like, you could do it. I don't know that you need to pair him with anybody. I'm not looking to try to guess who he's going to throw the ball to. If Brian Thomas plays, maybe you go there, but hold your nose, play a naked Mac Jones. That's maybe your silly for the milli GPP motto this week. All right. Maybe a safer play here. But Najee Harris, 19 carries, 21 carries each of the last 2 outings. He's gone over 103 straight. Like, the path is clear, 100 yards, at least a TD. The Commanders suck. Let's go. Get yourself some Najee Harris. Core play for me this week. And then Tank Dell. All right. Here's what I like about Tank Dell. Nico Collins looks like he might come back. Practice. Potentially coming back. All right. He's not going to see the same sort of volume, but now with that extra attention being paid to Nico Collins on the field, it's not just everybody looking at Tank Dell, right? And it's going to open up some stuff for him underneath, deep, right? Like, get him in space, which is what they want to do. I love the hammer game. You guys know that if you've watched this before. So I love playing Tank Dell in that hammer game on Sunday night. I talked about the Vikings. I love them here. Hold your nose, play Mac Jones. Yes, I agree. But let's just be honest here. The Vikings defense could potentially put up like a 30 spot in this game, right? Blake Cashman being back potentially is huge for them. Got to watch the waivers or watch the news for that. But super high ceiling spot. There's a solid floor. Don't love that they're on the road. I like if they were at US Bank a little bit better, but Mac Jones starting, this team being decimated by injuries to like Christian Kirk and just not being very good in general. I mean, I like the Vikings defense against Lawrence, but again against Mac Jones. And I get that I talked about Mac Jones. There's you can play more than one lineup, right? So I think there's some upside there with him. But yeah, you're playing the Vikings D and in the majority of your lineups. And you know what? This just sort of came to me. We do this in Showdown sometimes. But what if you play Mac Jones with the Vikings defense and he throws 3-4 picks, takes 4 or 5 sacks, they get a defensive touchdown, but he also throws like 3-ish touchdowns, which is, I think, more than possible against this Vikings defense. The Vikings defense scores well, Mac Jones scores well, and nobody has that lineup. I mean, we might be looking at this next week and going, oh my goodness, this guy's a moron, right? But that is a potential scenario if you are trying to take down a contest with like 250,000 people in it. I could see that happening. I'm going to leave it there. Maybe I'm Nostradamus. Maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm just a moron, but we'll see. All right. I'm going to leave you with that. All right. Hit that like button, hit subscribe. Again, I super appreciate you guys all checking this out. Use that code UpNorth, get you 10% off DFS Army VIP. Peace, everybody. Have a great week. Cheers.